Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today? I hope everybody can hear me and see me clearly. Let me know in the comments section how you guys are doing today. And if you can hear me and you can see me, there is a chat box on this window. It's pink in color. I have dropped some comments in there. I hope you guys can see it. So let me know if you guys can hear me. So as you guys are joining in, let me know where you are tuning in from today. I am super excited about this session today. It's kind of different to what we always do um, because these presentations are 100% live. And I wanted to mix things up this time and do a live presentation to see what it's like. And I would love to know your response as well. How do you guys feel about it? And one thing I wanted to let you know is this presentation will be available for 24 hours, like all the other presentations. Um, if you'd like lifetime access, you can always upgrade to the Gold Pass and get lifetime access so you can create the designs that I share in this live on your own at your own pace. So as you guys are tuning in, let me know in the comment section if you can hear me and you can see me clearly. I have also dropped the links, the details for today's presentation in the Facebook group. So if you see somebody struggling, let them know as well that we are here. So let's use the chat box to stay active. And one thing I want to highlight is I live on comments. When I'm doing live, the comments are what give me energy. So if you see me uh, uh, dying out or tiring out, then please share some comments in the chat box. And today I just fasted for like 12 hours because this is Ramadan. So I'm already in need of a lot of comments from you guys. I've got my juice here to keep me hydrated. Um, and I would love to see your comments and interactions so we can make this super fun. This is one thing I love about doing live is the interactions and the ability to answer your questions on the spot. It's a different kind of vibe and connection. So let's get this thing running and be sure to let me know in the comment section once again. So I can see some people have logged in and let me just drop this in the comment section. Alrighty. So I think we can get started. It's already 7:01 and it's 10:01 on my side. So let's dive straight in without wasting any time. So in today's presentation, we are gonna go over two things. First, I'm gonna show you how to plan your shaker cake topper. So, okay, I'll go into the details later. So that's one thing we will cover today. The second thing is I'm going to show you live how to design your cake topper. I have not created anything so far because I wanted to show you guys live from scratch how to design a cake topper from literally scratch. I haven't designed this cake topper before. I will be doing it right now on the spot. So these are the things that we will be covering today. Excuse me. So first of all, I want to go over why it's so important to learn SVG designing as a party crafter. So if you want to be a pro at party crafting, this is something you should really think about. Why uh, mastering SVG designing as a party crafter will give you a lot of benefits compared to other people, and it will help you leverage your business, or even if you are designing for personal use, you can leverage a lot of things, a lot of your skills, and save a lot of time and effort. So I'm going to discuss this in detail. Uh, Next, I want to show you the difference between Affinity Designer and Design Space, why I prefer one over the other. I'll go into the details of that. And then I will show you how you can get started with designing SVGs in Affinity Designer, even though you haven't done it before, even though you don't have any design experience, you don't have any graphic designing experience, you can still do it, and I'm going to show you how you can get started. And then we are going to get to the stage of how to plan your cake topper step by step. Okay. We're going to start with the very basics. I'm going to show you my strategy, how I do things, and then um, how I bring my ideas to life. And then we're going to move to the second last step, which is to design the shaker cake topper in Affinity Designer. The last part, which is to cut and assemble, we're going to do it at 8 p.m. tonight. Alrighty, so I hope all that is clear. Um, since there are no comments, I am just going to move forward. So if you have any questions or anything, you can use the chat box to ask your questions over there. Alrighty, so let's dive straight in. So these are the things you will need if you want to replicate what I am doing today. First of all, you're going to need Affinity Designer. You can download the trial version via Google search. If you just go to Google and type in Affinity Designer free trial, it will take you to their page, and you get about 7-day free trial for Affinity Designer. And if you want to cut and assemble this cake topper, you can use the materials that you bought for all the other projects that we shared in this event. You don't need completely unique, different supplies. You can use whatever you bought for this event because everything is going to be repetitive. All the supplies for paper crafts are pretty much the same. So that's what you'll be needing. And a quick disclaimer about this class. This is not a craft along. So I don't expect you to craft with me or create the design with me while I am showing you, because I know a lot of people are complete beginners who have never used Affinity Designer. And the pace that I am showing you things, it might take you a couple of revisions, which is completely normal because I do the same when I'm learning something new. When I'm learning a new software, it takes me a lot of time, a lot of replays of videos to get things right. This is completely normal. It's a normal human behavior. It's nothing, don't feel bad about it. It's totally normal. So, and you have 24 hours access to the video, so you can always go back and replay it. And if you want lifetime access, you can upgrade to the gold pass and get lifetime access, so you can create the cake topper at your own pace. Oh, alrighty. So I hope that all that is clear. Let's move to the next slide. So why learn SVG designing as a party crafter? What what are the benefits? Let's go over that. So the number one benefit about learning SVG designing as a party crafter is that you get to be the boss. You can create custom designs on your own without having to purchase new designs without having to download designs from uh, AI and stuff like that, designs that are not 100% compatible with your machine. Because once you know how to design things, it will give you a lot of freedom to manipulate your designs just the way you like. Because a lot of times, I know you guys are going to agree with me, a lot of times you just cannot find that perfect design in the store. No matter how much you search, it gets so frustrating when you're not able to find the exact design that you're looking for. And to avoid that, it's best to learn SVG designing, to master SVG designing, so that you don't have to spend hours and hours plowing through different video tutorials, different shops, looking for that perfect SVG to fit in your project. So it will save you time, it will save you money, and it will give you a lot of freedom. So that's one reason to master SVG designing as a party crafter. Secondly, you can stand out in a crowded market. I mean, if you look right now, there are so many party crafters out there, right? So how do you, and a lot of people do have these questions when they're starting out. The niche is so crowded. How do I make sure that people buy from me? How do I stand out? Everything is so similar. So this is one road map to standing out from the crowd by creating designs that are very unique to you instead of buying from different shops. When you Once you start creating your own designs, you can easily create your own theme. Like, okay, this is the theme I'm going to stick to. These are the kind of projects that I'll be making. Um Maybe you want to go with something neutral or something all pink, all related to, I don't know, a Barbie or something, dolls, or maybe you just want to do food related stuff. So it'll give you a lot of freedom to create things with your own skills, and it will help you in standing out in the market by adding a unique touch to your projects. The next reason is you can also sell the SVGs that you create. So I had one student, she had a full-time party decor business. So she made and sold custom party decor, and then she joined my program because she wanted to earn passive income. And then she started creating SVG files. And since she already knew what the party crafters wanted, she created exactly those things, and she listed 2 designs in her shop. And within 2 weeks, she started getting sales after sales after sales because she already had an audience. She knew what her party decor audience wanted, and she put the SVG files in her shop, and immediately she started making passive income from just 2 designs. So that's the power of learning to design your own SVGs as a party crafter, because you can also sell the digital files when you don't have the capacity to create the physical projects. Hello, Lisa. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Let me know where you are tuning in from and if you can see me and hear me clearly. So good to have somebody in the chat. Otherwise, it feels like I'm just talking to myself. So thank you for tuning in and joining the chat. Alrighty, so those were the 3 main reasons I highly recommend party crafters to master SVG designing. So the next question is, which software should you use for SVG designing? And I will compare two software right now. Excuse me. That so Affinity Designer versus Design Space. So for those of you who haven't seen Affinity Designer, I'm just gonna pop it up on the screen. Please don't get scared. It's not scary. It looks scary, but it's not. I've been using this software since 2013, so about 12 years now. And that's so cool. That's so good to hear, Mona Lisa. Thanks so much for joining in. What's the time on your side at this time? I know in New York it is 7 a.m. I'm not sure about all the other states of the US. So I've been using Affinity Designer since 2013, and before that, I was using Adobe Illustrator, and then they introduced their membership model. And as a student, it was really difficult to afford the membership. So I searched and searched, and I tried multiple different software. And in the end, I'm so lucky that I found Affinity Designer, which was super professional and glitch proof. It was so easy to use, so smooth to use, and I am gonna share it with you guys just now. Um, okay, let me share my entire screen because I can't find the software here. Oh, there it is. Alrighty. So I hope you guys can see my screen. This is what Affinity Designer looks like. And don't get scared. It's not gonna be so. I'll show you guys how to get started with it. So don't freak out. Okay, cool. So it's 7 a.m. Do you usually get up this early, or is this a special day today for the presentation? I hope I didn't. I didn't keep the presentation too early because it's 10 p.m. on my side. And anything after that, it's gonna make me super, super sleepy. So I thought this would be the perfect time. Alrighty, so I hope you guys can see Affinity Designer and you must already know what Design Space looks like. So the reason I went with Affinity Designer is because after trying out multiple software, this seemed to be very professional and glitch-free software. And one thing I love, absolutely love about Affinity Designer is it's so beginner friendly. I know right now you might be thinking, excuse me, this looks very scary as a beginner, but trust me, once you start using it, it's going to be so much easier because Affinity Designer comes with these pre-made shapes. Trust me, these are a complete lifesaver, especially when you're starting out, because you get these pre-made shades that you can start working with right away without going too deep into the software. And this is something you do not get anywhere else in Adobe Illustrator or other. That's cool. That's cool. That's good to know that I'm not, uh, I didn't make it too early and too uncomfortable for people to get up. So, anyway, I'm just going to share my entire screen now. So, I'm going to open up Design Space as well. So, that's one reason I love Affinity Designer. It is professional and it is glitch free, and it comes with all these shapes which are super easy to work with as a beginner and even as a seasoned designer. The other thing why I prefer Affinity Designer over Design Space is because you can export the SVG files and you can share the actual file. So you have, when you go to the option, we are going to cover all of these in detail, so don't worry about it. So there's an export feature which will allow you to export your file as an SVG. So if you create a design here, you can export it as an SVG, and then you can sell that design and put it in your shop. And but this feature is not available in Design Space. If you create designs in Design Space, you cannot sell it outside, or you cannot sell it, you cannot share it outside of Design Space. If you want to sell it, you need to sell it within the Design Space environment, and you have to share it with people who already have the Design Space account. You can't put your designs on Etsy because Design Space does not give you that feature to export your designs. And secondly, it is very, very glitchy. I do not like using Design Space even for a bit. I just use it to cut it on my Cricut machine. Other than that, I absolutely despise using Design Space. It drives me nuts because of how glitchy it gets. And then you have to restart the app, and sometimes your project is not even saved uh, because Cricut is mainly a cutting machine company, and they created Design Space to accompany it's like an app to go with your machine. It's not a vector design software like Affinity Designer, which gives you all the tools you need to create a vector design, which is SVG, Scalable Vector Graphic. I hope you guys watched my first presentation from yesterday, where I talked about the details of SVG designing. Uh, if you haven't, I don't think there's any much time left, but if you have the access pass, gold pass, you can still go back and watch that presentation, which will tell you everything about SVGs. So that's one, those are the two main reasons I don't recommend using a Design Space for SVG designing. That's why I use Affinity Designer. I've been using this for past 12 years, and this is where I do all of my work. So that's what we will be using today. Let's go back to these slides. Alrighty, so I hope you guys got some information about Affinity Designer versus Design Space, and I hope it helped you guys understand why I go for Affinity Designer versus Design Space. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat box, and I'll get back to you. So the next thing is how to get started with designing SVGs in Affinity Designer. So you guys just saw what Affinity Designer looks like. And the good thing is it is a multi-dimensional software. So it's got a lot of tools uh, that are made for lots of different things. Like a lot of graphic designers use Affinity Designer for multiple different things. But the good thing is, as an SVG designer, you don't have to master every single tool. You can just pick and choose a couple of tools, and that will be enough to create your SVG designs. And I have a course in which I show people step by step on how to use one tool at a time and master it, and then create SVG designs. So let me show you guys my program, the back end of my program. Share screen. Let's share the entire screen. So inside my program for SVG designing, you get to learn SVG designing step by step. So my program is designed for absolute beginners. Let's go here. So this is the very basic version. And in this, you can learn to design SVGs, even if you have never designed SVGs before, you have no idea about graphic designing. You can get started and complete this course within a week and learn all those different types of SVG designing. If you put in a whole day or a whole week, then you can finish this. I mean, if you put in 8 hours or something in a week, you can finish this entire course. I had a student who finished the course, who spent 10 hours and finished this entire course in one day. But there are some students who take longer, can take a month. Uh, but the thing is, like, if even if you have uh, no experience in designing SVGs, you can get started with this course. And trust me, you're gonna, once you graduate, you'll have multiple different designs ready to share, ready to work with. So I start with the very basics. I teach you how to install Affinity Designer, and all of these are video based. So you can play the videos, you can replay them as much as you like. And then I introduced you to the Affinity Designer tools that we'll be using. And then you also get a handbook with written instructions that you can use to learn SVG designing. And then we have all about text. So in this module, I show you how to use the text tool in Affinity Designer. So if you go to Affinity Designer, this is the text tool over here. And with just this text tool, you can create a ton of different types of SVGs. And that's what I've discussed in the first module. Then we have the second module, working with shapes. So this is what I was talking about to you guys earlier. These shapes are the amazing, most amazing, life-saving thing that Affinity Designer has. And you can use these to create so many amazing designs. And it makes these shapes make it so much easier. So we have a whole module dedicated to shapes. And then the master of all things vector is the pen tool. So this will give you the freedom to literally draw anything. This is great for tracing images, uh, for yeah, this is perfect for tracing images. And so many of my students create such amazing traced images and submit the assignments. Let me show you guys some of the assignments that were shared by my students. And you can see them over here. So this was an assignment submitted by one of my students just the other day. And this is another assignment that you complete at the end of the course. This is the 3D heart SVG box SVG. And this is another assignment created by my student. This is the tracing assignment where you learn to trace an image, and then you can use this image in your SVGs. You can create a layered image with this, a parrot. You can make a layered parrot with this once you learn how to trace the image. And these are the cake toppers. So these are all the things you learn inside the course, and you can this will help you in mastering SVG designing one step at a time without the overwhelm. And the good thing is you can get started with this today by signing up for my membership. The link for the button for the membership is just below this video. So if you go to this page and you click on join SVG's party and giftpreneurs membership, you can go and click on here and join the membership. You get 3-day free trial. And if you are a if you upgrade it to the Gold Pass, you get 2 weeks. And if you are not a Gold Pass member, you get 3 days. So 3 days, you can go and have a look inside the membership and check out the things and decide for yourself if you want continue or if you want to cancel it. And then and then you can decide whether you want to learn SVG designing and see for yourself how things are laid out and how easy it is to get started with SVG designing. Alrighty, so that was all, and this is just a description of what I just shared. You get 3-day free trial for or as a PBC attendee, and the link is in right under this workshop over here on this page. Alrighty, so let's get started with the fun stuff, which is to plan your cake topper. All right, so let's get started with the planning. So for planning my designs, I go directly to Pinterest. Pinterest has a ton of photos shared by crafters for different cake toppers and stuff. So I love using Pinterest for inspiration. Remember, we are not gonna copy things. We are gonna just take inspiration. And by inspiration, I mean we're gonna look at how many layers a cake topper is using, uh, what are the colors that are looking good inside the cake topper. So these are the things we want to focus on. We're not gonna be copying something exactly how they made it. We want to be unique, but we also don't want to start from literally nowhere. Uh we gotta think about our what catches our attention, and then we are gonna create something which is a which is inspired from different projects. All right, so let's start looking at things. So I want to do a circular cake topper, and I want it to have two different what do you say, something like this, there's a large shape and then there's a small shape. So I'm going to do is I'm going to create a board, and I'm going to start pinning the things like I like onto that board. So let's say shaker cake topper. So this is something I want. So I'm going to pin this to my board. All right. Mm, what else do I like? So I have decided I want two shapes tied together. So we can save this one as well. Let's let's open this up and we might find something similar to this. Here you go. This looks pretty nice. This has two objects. So I'm gonna save this one as well. This one has three. It looks nice. I'm just looking for inspiration for a double layout, like a double shaker layout. Um, this looks nice. It has double shakers. Let's pin this. This one is really good. So this is very close to what vision I have in my mind. It's so you might have something in your mind, you might not have something in mind. That's totally fine. So when you're starting out, your idea can take some time to develop, to mature. So keep an open mind. This one looks really nice as well. Let's save this. Mm, this has many layers, so I don't want to make it too complex. Let's have a look. This one is really cute. Let's save this one. So I can spend ages and ages doing this, trying to figure out, collecting ideas. It can get really, uh, uh, it can really take a lot of your time if you don't, if you keep browsing. I know I've spent like hours and hours looking for the perfect thing, but I don't recommend that. So I think we've got like a couple of cake toppers to start with. Let's go to our board and see what we can do with that. So let's see where my board is. Shaker cake topper, here is my board. Okay, so let's see what I can do with these designs. This one is super cute as well. See how you just, how do you tend to just keep losing track and just disappearing into the world of cake toppers like this. So let's go back and let's try to stick to what we have over here. So what I want to do is create something like this. It's not too complicated. It's not, it has two layers in it, but it's not that complicated. So let's go and create something like this. We're not going to do something exactly like this, but something similar. You're most welcome, Mona Lisa. I'm so glad you're here. And feel free to ask questions and stop me if you have any questions in the middle. Alrighty, so let's go to Affinity Designer and start creating. So for those of you who are new, I'm gonna start from scratch. Let's close this and let's bring the Affinity Designer window up. So this is what's gonna happen, what's it's gonna look like once you open up your window. All right. So this is what it's gonna look like. It's super blank, super scary, but don't worry. To open up a new file, I'm gonna click on File and then New. And over here, I am going to change the settings because I like to work with a large canvas and I like to work in inches. So I'm going to select inches. I'm going to change this to 30 by 40. So 30 by 40 inch is the size of my canvas. And I'm going to reduce the DPI to 72. This is very important. Leave everything else as it is and click on Create. And here we are. Now you must have noticed how all these tools light up as opposed to what they look like when we didn't have a canvas or artboard over here. So inside Affinity Designer, this is called an artboard. Alrighty. So now I want to start creating my design. So before I get started, I want to brainstorm a couple of things. I want to finalize a couple of things so that I know where I'm going. So number one, I want two shapes for the shaker cake topper. Number two, I want, let's decide on the number of layers. So I want to go with 5 layers. All right. But this might change. This is not hard and fast rule. This is just a guide. So we're going to leave this aside. All right. And I want my cake topper to be circular. Okay. So let's get started. So for circular, I will need circle, right? So let's go back. So let's select that. I'm going to add one circle here. And the second shape, let's change the color of this. The second shape, I might want to add a segment. Let's see how this looks. I'm not 100% fixated upon this right now. I might change it. Oops, that's not what I want. Yep, this is what I want. So if I change the color of this to pink, and I place these two together. So does that look good? Yep, I think I like it. Maybe I'll make this smaller and bring this forward. So these are the tools you can use to move the shapes around. I think I'm getting my cake topper, and over here, I'm gonna add my text. So I think I am happy with the placement. So this is the basic design of my cake topper. And I now have a good starting point. So this is the second step. You can grab shapes from the shape section, and you can start playing around with the shapes and start placing them the way you like and the way you would like your cake topper to look. And over here, I would add my text. So I'm not gonna go into that right now. I have that vision in my mind. Maybe I'll use a pencil to just draw something. Let me increase the width of this so you can make it thicker from here. And let me select this and make this thicker. So to make this you get thicker, you're going to go to stroke and increase the width from here. So this is somewhat, uh, this is just a vision. This is not the cake topper. So this is just a vision. We are just trying to plan our cake topper before we dive into the creation. All right. So next, what I'm going to do is move this aside. And now we are going to convert this into shapes. Now, if you go to the layers panel right now, you'll see this is an ellipse and this is a segment, which means we're not ready to cut this out yet. We need to change this to curve to get this ready for cutting. And we also need to figure out what all pieces we need. All right, so this is going to be a multi-layered cake topper, so we need at least three three layers for this one. So let's duplicate this. Actually, first and foremost, I am going to change this to curve. So let's and before that, just to have a backup, I'm going to duplicate this. So right click and copy, and then right click and paste. So we have a duplicate. We are going to keep this aside for later. I'm going to do the same for this, copy and paste. Usually I just use a shortcut, but for you guys, I'm trying to avoid using shortcuts so that it's easy for you to catch what I'm doing. All right, so now that we have a duplicate, I'm going to convert this to curve. And you can see it says curve over here, which means it's ready for cutting in design space after you export it. So now this is a curve. I'm going to duplicate this again. So copy, and then I'm going to do paste. So now you can see it is at the back. And I am going to change the color of this to, let's open up the color palette. All right, we've got a ton of colors over here to choose from. Let's go with this. Let's open up the color palette again. So this is going to be the bottommost layer, and I'm going to press shift and increase the size of this. And I'm going to send this to back. All right, so that is going to be our second layer. And next, I'm going to duplicate this layer. So copy and paste. And then I'm going to press shift again and increase the size of this. And let's change this to a darker color and send this to the back. And now you can see we have 3 different layers. Let's change the color of this to something lighter. No, not this one. Maybe I'll change this color to something light. So you can see all the different colors over here. And this one. All right, so now I am gonna align them. I'm gonna select all of these and I'm gonna align them to the center, align them in the middle. So we have 3 layers, they're all different sizes, and you can see where we are going with this. I'm gonna do the same with this. I'm gonna duplicate this, copy and paste, and I'm gonna increase the size of this by pressing Shift. And next I am gonna change the color of this to something different, and I'm gonna send this to back. And you can see we have 2 different layers over here. And now let's go over the layers. All right, so this is going to be the base layer. This is going to be the second layer. So if you look at the cake toppers over here, you can see the main reason they look so good is because of all the different layers that are involved, right? So if you look at this one, look at how many layers there are. There's so much dimension to this cake topper because of these layers. So you've got one layer at the bottom, the clouds, and then you've got the balloons, then you've got this layer, and each of them have multiple layers attached to them, which makes it really complex. I mean, we're not going to go into that crazy layering, but just look at the number of layers you've got over here. So we've got, for just this one placement, you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 over here. So the the secret is to have as many layers as you can create without getting overwhelmed. So that's why we have 3 layers over here. And then we've got 2 layers over here. Let's bring both of these to the front. And then, so now the other thing you need is, so when you look at the shaker cake toppers, let's go back to the shaker cake toppers. So if you look at these layers, you've got this transparent thing, right? Which through which you can see the back, so through which you can see the sequins and stuff, right? So we need to create that layer. So I'm gonna do that using this. So this is gonna be my topmost layer, and I will put the shaker layer, the clear plastic layer on top of this. So I need to have 2 of these. So I'm gonna duplicate this, copy, and paste. So this is let's change the color of this to blue so that we know this is gonna be our transparent layer. So you place this layer, you add your double-sided tape all around this, and on top of that, you add this shaker, this transparent layer. Now, what happens when you add this transparent layer is you'll be able to see the nasty double-sided tape. And we don't want that, right? So we need to create another layer to cover that. So what I'm going to do is, and that layer needs to be smaller than this plastic layer. So I'm going to duplicate this once again, copy, and then paste. And I'm going to reduce the size of this from all the sides. I'm going to take this aside. Let's change the color of this. And I'm going to duplicate this once more. I'm going to place this here. And I want to create a cutout so that it looks like this. So do you see this white thing over here, which is on top of the transparent layer, just a white outline. So that's the thing I will be making now. Let me show you once again. So do you see this yellow outline on this one? So this is what we are trying to create over here. So what I'm going to do is I've placed the smaller uh, cutout inside. And I'm going to select both the front and the back. And I'm going to click on subtract. And now you can see I have that outline layer. And I'm going to change the color of this to this. So this is going to go on top like this. And this is the transparent layer. And that is our pink layer. So how are you guys feeling so far? Any questions, let me know in the comments section. There will be a replay for this available for you guys to go and check out. I know it can get really overwhelming because there's so many different steps involved, but don't worry, if you go step by step, you can easily figure this out. All right, you can easily make this, trust me. So we've got one side of our cake topper done. Next, I want to add some shaker stuff in here as well. Like you saw in yesterday's cake topper, we had a little trophy in that thing. So this is something like that. You can either put a dome on top or you can add some shaker sequence inside this. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with this layer. I'm going to create an outline. So I'm going to duplicate this and reduce the size of it. And let's change the color to this. And I'm going to duplicate this one as well. And I think I'm going to make it smaller so the ring is thicker. I'm going to select both of these and I'm going to click on subtract. And there you go. We have a ring. And we need to duplicate this as well and change the color of this to blue. So this is going to go on the transparent layer. And this is going to go on top. It's going to cover the double-sided tape. All right, so we are almost done with our cake topper. We need to change all of these to curves. So it's very simple. You just click on the thing, convert to curves. Oops. Select each shape one at a time and convert to curve. Okay, let's place them back. This is our shaker. This is our transparent layer. And now let's add some text to it. So I'm going to write here, let's go with Alex is one, because that is easy. So I'm going to use the artistic text tool. And I want to add that Alex is one around this layer. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to duplicate this and bring it to the bottom. And I want to make this text up until here. So I'm going to grab my text tool and I'm going to bring it. I'm going to click on this first and grab my text tool. And can you guys see when I bring the text tool near the edge over here, there's like a wave and a T over there. So this is what we are aiming for. Once you see this T with a wave, just click over here and start typing. Don't worry about how it looks right now. We're going to fix it. Alex is one. All right, so now you can see it's upside down. It's not working the way we want. So let's first and foremost increase the size of this. So I'm going to double click to select all. And then I am gonna increase the size to 144. And now this looks like it is tilted. So to fix that, I'm gonna use this orange arrow. So it might be different for you guys, but remember the key is to play with these arrows, the green and orange one, to get things right. So I'm gonna grab this and move it to the other side, and you can see now the text has moved to where I want it. So I'm gonna push it further. And this is kind of like where I want it to be. I'm gonna place it on the actual cake topper. And yep, this looks pretty nice. This is where I want it to be. I can increase the size further. Let's go with 200. Okay, that's too big. Maybe let's go with 170. Okay, that looks great. Now I want to change the text design. Now you can see this is not the kind of font I want my cake topper to, I don't want my cake topper to have. So let's look at all the different fonts. Now I get this question a lot of times, where do you get the fonts inside your Affinity Designer? So Affinity Designer pulls the fonts from your computer. Whatever you have installed on your computer, it's gonna appear over here. So my favorite font to use is Better Valentina. So I'm gonna grab that from here. And now you can see there is a huge gap between all these letters. So what I'm gonna do is try to reduce this gap. And for that, I'm gonna open up the character panel. So if you go to character panel, you get all of these options to play around with your text. So I am using this tracking option to bring the text closer to one another so it fits perfectly, and you can see the jagged lines are gone. It looks much smoother right now. So this is what I'm going to do. And if you can't see the character panel, you can go to window and check character from here. So you can see my character is ticked. Brushes, snapshots. So once the, sorry, studio. I'm not seeing this. Yep. So it's under text. Uh, you can enable text, glyph browser, all of these different styles. If your character is not available, so it should be under text. They've changed this. They have updated this, so it's now hiding under text. So you can enable this, and then you can play around with this to the way you like it. So Alex is 1. Now I want this to be in 2 different layers. So I'm gonna select this, and I'm gonna bring this down. And I'm gonna duplicate this because if I make a mistake, I'll have a backup. So let's duplicate this. Let's copy, and then let's paste this here on the side. And now I am gonna convert this to curve. So I'm gonna click, I'm gonna right click and then click on convert to curve. So this is a very important step when you are creating SVGs. You have to convert them curve so that it is readable by Cricut Design Space. All right, so now you can see this is a group. Now I'm gonna ungroup this thing, and you can see all of these letters are single letters. I can move them around. Now, I don't want them to be cut like that, right? I want them to cut as one single letter, one single word instead of single letters. So I'm gonna select all of these, and then I am gonna click on add. So this is similar to what you do with Cricut Design Space in Weld. So if you open up Cricut Design Space, there's an option called Weld or Combine. So this is similar to that. Now that I have this welded and ready for cutting, I'm gonna duplicate this once again, and I'm gonna create another layer which will go on below this, like an offset layer. So I'm gonna go and increase the size of the stroke. And make it super thick like this. Let's change the color so you guys can see what's going on here. Let's change this to this. All right, so you can see we've got this stroke layer, which is super thick. You can see it's 60.4, and then we've got the top layer. So this is gonna be in gold. That's why this I've chosen this color, which looks a bit like gold. So what I'm gonna do next, you can see if I export it like this with 60.4, it's not gonna work. We need to expand the stroke. There's another step involved. So I'm gonna right click and expand stroke. And you can see now we have the actual thing which will be cut by the Cricut. So we don't need this one. Let's delete this. And now I can send this to back. And you can see we have two layers of our text. And I can move this to here. So now we have this like this. Now what I want is now it's up to you whether you want this to be attached to the base layer or you want it to be just like that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a smaller version of this. Let's see what we can get. And change the color to this. No, it doesn't look good. So I'm gonna leave this as it is. And I'm gonna cut this out in gold when I'm doing the cutting tomorrow. And I mean today for you guys at 8 p.m. And I'm gonna leave this as it is separate. So we've got our basic cake topper done. Now the next step would be to modify this cake topper and add all of and create this cake topper. Sorry, create the actual version of this cake topper after cutting it out. Now you can also add all of these extras if you want. You can grab some images from the Access Pass and you can add any kind of elements to it. You can add a mermaid, you can add a spaceship, you can add a car, you can add flowers, you can customize it the way you like it. So that's the thing about this cake topper. I've shown you guys the basic version, and now you can customize it the way you like it based on your theme. So if you want to make it a spring themed, you can grab some flowers from here and cut them out to give it a spring flower theme. So you can cut out flowers like these. You can make flowers like these inside Affinity Designer. So let me get rid of this thick stroke. So we've got this flower tool. You can create so many different types of flowers using this. So you can cut this out, but you always need to change it to curves. So let's reduce this and let's turn this around. I'm gonna create another one, and you can change the number of stars this has. You can change the number of bubbles it has. You can reduce it like this, and you can also increase or decrease the layers. You can have many different types of flowers using this. So this is going to be the second. Trying to give it a different color, but it's which is isn't that different. So it all goes together. Got this flower, and then you can also add a let's reduce the bubbles on this. And let's change the color to yellow. Oops. Let's change the color to yellow, and you can place this here. This is going to be the center. And we can duplicate this and place this here. And let's add some more flowers. Oops. Let's reduce the size of this. And let's duplicate this, and let's change the color of this. Let's bring it to the front. So I really like how this is going. You can add as many things you want. That's totally up to you. But don't forget to select these all and change them to curve before you export. So now it looks like everything is converted to curve, whatever we need to work with. And now we are ready to export this to our design space. So let's select all of these, and let's make sure everything we have selected is set to curve. And you can see over here, it is set to curve in the layers panel. And now I am gonna export this. So let's group this together. And look at the size over here. It is 18 by 10 inch, which should be fine because we are going to be cutting all of these separately. So let's export this to Cricut. So I'm going to select selection area only, and then I'm going to click on export. And let's save this on the desktop. So a couple of things I want to go over when I click on export. So it should be an SVG file. The raster DPI should be set to 72. Selection area should be area only. A lot of times people ask me that they don't get this option because you need to first click and drag and make sure everything is selected. And no, I don't want to downsample my images. And I'm going to use this DPI. I don't want to allow JPEG compression. No, 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 no. So all of these things are no. So let's export this and save this on the desktop as shaker cake topper. Click on save. And now let's go to our design space and see what this looks like. So I'm going to open up my design space. upload, and continue, upload, and there you go. Everything is in exactly the same size, perfectly exported. The flowers have moved around, but that's fine. We can fix that. So now we are ready to cut this out. Now Cricut is gonna take its own sweet time for cutting things out. Um, so I'm not gonna hold you guys back. I am gonna cut this out on my own. And then we are gonna meet here together at 8 a.m. And I will show you guys how to assemble this cake topper once once all the cutting is done. No worries. We are almost finishing up with the live class. So you guys have up until 8 p.m. to watch this and create the cake topper and then cut it out and then watch me assemble the cake topper once everything is cut and ready. And you have 24 hours access to this presentation. You can watch the replay and uh, create the cake topper on your own. And if you want lifetime access and so you can go back and review all the steps that I've shared with you guys. You can always grab the access pass. You can you can upgrade to the gold pass and get lifetime access to this presentation. And if you want to learn SVG designing to create custom cake toppers and get access to 100 plus SVGs and party decor crafts, you can click on this button over here to join my membership, and you get 3-day trial to check out this membership on your own so that you can see what all amazing things are included inside of the membership to help you master and create custom party decor. So go and have a look and let me know if you have any questions. So that is all for today's for the live presentation for now. I will join you guys once again at 8 p.m. today, and I will show you guys how to assemble this shaker cake topper that you created in Affinity Designer right now. Alrighty, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. That is all from me for now. And I hope I'll see you guys at 8 p.m. once again. Bye-bye.